Well, we are nearing the end of a day here, and the sun is starting to go down, and it's getting a bit dark. But I just have an amazing story that I want to share with you. Right now, Kathy and I are at the Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park in southern Utah. It's not exactly what we expected when we got here. It actually turned out to be dune buggy heaven with dune buggies all over the place, but we didn't come here to dune buggy. But we're enjoying the park anyway, walking around in the sand dunes, and Kathy's taking midnight shots with her camera out in the middle of the sand dunes. And so we're making the most of our time here for a few days. Anyway, yesterday we heard about this great hike that we should take through a slot canyon that's about 50 miles away. So we packed up all our gear real early in the morning when it was dark, and we drove up there about 50 miles, and it was daylight when we got there, and we started unpacking our gear and getting our backpacks on and so on. And all of a sudden I hear Kathy exclaim, "My diamond is gone!" But the first thought I thought was, nothing is lost in mind. And so I go around the truck to where she is, and she's rifling through stuff, and she shows me her wedding ring, and her diamond was gone, and two prongs were bent out a little bit and had released the diamond. It was gone. And she realized it because she had snagged the prongs on some clothing when she was packing up her backpack. Well, our hearts sunk. But I immediately went right into prayer gear. Nothing is lost in mind. Divine Mind knows exactly where this diamond is. And it was special to both of us, not only to her because I gave it to her as the engagement ring when I proposed to her, but I put a lot of effort into finding that diamond when I fell in love with her, and basically spent all the money I had at that time, which wasn't a lot, but it was a lot to me at that time, to find just the right ring to give to Kathy when I proposed to her. So it had a lot of meaning to both of us. Anyway, we didn't know where it was. And like I told you, we are in sand dune heaven here. Is sand everywhere. You don't want to drop a little thing in a sand dune. It might be hard to find. However, what you learn in Christian Science is we don't live in a material universe of chance and risk. We live in a universe of divine mind, where everything is a thought. And of course, divine mind knows where all its thoughts are, right? Of course, all is mind and mind's idea. And this diamond is an idea, and the mind of God is not lost. Divine mind knows exactly where it is. And that mind is our mind, so we can know exactly where it is too. That's the prayer I started to pray. Well, we looked through everything. It appeared to us that the diamond probably fell out right there, that she had snagged a prong, loosened the diamond, and it fell out there, perhaps in the truck or around the truck in the sand somewhere as we were getting ready to do this hike. But we looked, and we looked, and we looked. We unpacked the whole truck. We packed it back up again. We unpacked it again. It was nowhere to be found. We were very peaceful and calm during this whole experience, and just listening, doing a lot of praying. And I just held to this prayer that nothing is lost in mind, that mind knows where this diamond is. It's not lost. Divine mind is our mind, so we can see where it is too. Well, we weren't seeing it. So we had a whole day of hiking planned ahead of us. It's still early in the morning. So we decided to just let it go, put this into God's hands, and go do our hike. So we packed up, and we did one last look around the truck. And as we left, I thought, mind knows where this is. If it's not here, it's somewhere else, and mind will reveal it to us. And so we headed off to the hike and had a very enjoyable day. However, when we headed off to the slot canyon, Kathy made the remark, well, it's just a material thing. She actually was taking this quite well. and I thought, no. I said out loud, no, it's not a material thing. There are no material things. All is mind and mind's idea. We live in a universe of spirit, right? There's no material things to be lost in the universe of spirit. So it was really important that we held to the truth of being per this diamond, that it wasn't a material thing that could get lost. There's only divine mind and divine mind's ideas, and God's ideas never get lost. They never get misplaced. They never get dropped where they're not supposed to be. They are always in their right place. Mind puts every idea in its right place. There are no lost material objects. So we agreed on that truth, and just packed that prayer away and headed off to the Slot Canyon and enjoyed another 5 or 6 hours hiking several miles up and down the canyon. At one point during the hike, I thought, well, maybe this is a time when we just have to accept the loss. That was hammering away on the thought, because I could think of times in life when me or other friends or neighbors have experienced severe losses in their life, and that's the way it was, right? They just learned to let it go and go on with the spiritual gain, and they never saw that material thing back again, but something new would develop in their life that was progressive and move them forward, and that's the way it was. Maybe we just needed to accept that this diamond was lost out here in the sand dunes somewhere, and that's the way it is, but there's no empty holes in our life. We'll just find other ways to, still live full, complete lives and just leave it behind. But I greatly rebelled against that suggestion. I really did. I stuck to my prayer, nothing is lost in mind. And that's the way it is. And we live in divine mind. There's no loss, big or small. There's just no loss in mind. Every right idea is in its right place all the time. And we could see that truth. And so I found peace with that prayer as well. So later in the day, maybe 5 or 6 hours later, we get back to the truck. The wind had swept all the sand away around the truck. You could tell, all our footprints were gone. So we did one last look around the truck to see if there was any glittering object on the ground. There was none. And so the temptation for me was to think, oh, I hope we don't leave it behind here in the sand, because we're never coming back here. This is out in the middle of nowhere. And I thought, nope. There is no time or space in divine mind. This diamond is an idea in the mind of God. It's with mind. It's with us. Wherever we go, we will never leave it behind. And so I found peace with that. So we get in the truck and we drive back to our RV back here at the Sand Dunes Park. It's another 50 miles back. And we get here and we drive up to our little trailer and we get out and open the door of the trailer and we go in, and we're going to look around in the trailer to see if perhaps it fell in the trailer. We didn't know. The night before, we had been out in the sand dunes, at 10, 11, midnight. Kathy was taking pictures and she was wearing gloves and taking them on and off, or it could have fallen off then out in the middle of the sand dunes. We didn't know. So we go into our trailer and we start looking through some coats and pockets, and I'm standing there. After about 30 seconds, I just hear this voice that says, "It's not here." And so I say to Kathy, I'm going to go finish unpacking the truck. And I turn and I walk toward the door of the trailer, and I put my hand on the door and I look down, and in this blue carpet, this little rug that we have at the entry to our trailer, there's this pebble, this little pebble there. It's just a rock pebble like we always track in with our boots, into the trailer all the time. I'm always cleaning them out, but a little voice said, "Pick it up." And so I reached down and I picked it up. It was real sandy and brown, and I turned it over and it glittered. Oh my gosh, this is the diamond. And there it was. And of course we celebrated and hugged, and we were thrilled to have it back again. But it was a wonderful lesson that nothing is ever lost in mind. I have a friend whose motto whenever she loses thing is, "Look where it is." And basically that's what we ended up doing. We just got really calm, just really humble, really receptive, just listening to divine mind's direction, because divine mind knew where that diamond was. And we just needed to listen and let mind lead us. And mind led me to look down, and mind said, "Pick it up." And I did, and there it was. We looked where it was. So anyway, there's nothing lost in mind. And that truth applies to you in your life as well.